Subscribe to Teckoh on YouTube or you will forever be a bot at Fortnite.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So as you know, Season 4 is finally here, and with it comes some new features and locations that are actually pretty dang good. In this video, I'll be going over all of the best landing spots that you need to start using in Fortnite Season 4, whether you're a casual or competitive player. These spots are going to be mainly geared towards solos, but they can also be great for trios when trio tournaments eventually roll out. With that said guys, I'm not going to waste any more of your time, so let's get straight into it. The first spot on this list is quite possibly the most overpowered spot in the new season, and that's Doom's Domain. Doom's Domain is basically the new Pleasant Park, but with a new building and a boss that gives you 2 mythic weapons. This spot is awesome for W keying, but not that great if you're trying to play passive, obviously. Landing at Doom's Domain, you have a lot of options. There are all the normal pleasant houses from past seasons, the giant mansion building, and the massive hole in the ground. Personally, I recommend either landing at the new building if you're willing to take a bit of a risk, or land at a nearby house if you want to play it a bit safer. As a side note, the mansion has 5 chests, and it has a henchman crate, so it's way more of like a high risk, high reward type deal. Then you can simply play it out like normal from there. The boss typically spawns in the mansion or in the giant hole area, so what I'll usually do is land at a house, then rotate up to the mansion to get any players there and possibly the boss. If the boss isn't there, then I rotate over to the hole and get him there. Overall, this spot is definitely one of the most well-rounded areas to land at for W keying, and I can definitely see it being almost like the new authority, especially in team modes. The second location on my list is going to be a location that's actually from last season, and that's the Fortilla. Believe it or not, the Fortilla is actually still a pretty good spot this season. It has a ton of loot with about 9 chest spawns and plenty of floor loot, and it's also neighboring Rickety Rig, which also has another 8 chests. So overall, if you land here solo and loot up both areas, which really isn't that difficult since they're pretty close to one another, you'll end up with 17 potential chest spawns, plenty of fish, a bunch of noms boxes, and much more. Also, since the Fortilla/Rig area has an easy rotation into Slurpy Swamp, it's realistic to even land here in trios since this area has great loot on its own plus good rotations into stack spots. Obviously, if you rotate up to Slurpy, then you can get the slurp barrels, all the fish, and just the general loot that's around that area. Overall, the Fortilla is still a great spot to land this season. Since the mythic items are gone from it as well, it's going to be a lot less contested than usual, and I think it's really going to go under the radar this season for how good it actually is. Speaking of old mythic spots that are actually still good, the Authority is another one of these spots. Now, don't get me wrong, the Authority is still going to be contested this season, but not nearly as much as before, since similar to the Fortilla, it no longer has the mythic loot. Despite that being the case, the Authority still has insane loot, more than enough to support a trio, and well more than what you'll need as a solo as well. In solos, what I recommend doing is finding a specific area of the Authority that you're confident landing at, get some solid loot there, and then clear out the area of all the other players before rotating out with all the loot. The Authority is definitely an aggressive landing spot even without the mythic loot, but the actual chest spawns and general floor loot it offers both make it one of the best spots on the entire map despite it being nerfed. In fact, considering the fact that way fewer people are going to contest you here than usual, along with the central position on the map and obviously the fact that it still has amazing loot, the Authority might end up being one of the most meta spots in this season. One small tip for landing at the Authority is that there are a ton of chest spawns in the vents, so it's worth looking through those as long as you're careful. The vents are generally pretty easy to navigate, the only risk is that other people might be there before you, but if you're careful, then it shouldn't be an issue. Moving on from that, the next spot I'll be going over is a spot that's been on the map since the start of Chapter 2, but one that's still one of the best, both for trios and solos. The spot I'm talking about is Steamy Stacks. Steamy is one of the best spots on the map in terms of loot, with 25 potential chest spawns in the entire POI, plus plenty of other chest spawns right outside of it. If you're willing to fight off maybe 1 or 2 people on a heavy game, then you'll have one of the best spots on the map completely to yourself. Personally, when I land at Steamy, I'll usually land at the building closest to the ocean, inside the green crate if there's a chest in there. Then I'll head straight into the building, basically going through and grabbing all the loot as efficiently as I can. Usually, I'll end up with some decent loot within about 30 seconds of landing, and then I'll be able to scout around for anyone contesting me, or just continue looting up if they're far away or if I'm uncontested. Another thing I love about this spot is the giant wind tunnels, which, as you know, can be used to easily rotate if you get a far zone, along with the zip lines, which you can use to go south if the zone pulls that way. One more thing I'd like to mention is that you can rotate to the slurp truck as well, which is near the gas station if you need a refill on shield. This is actually perfect if somehow you get unlucky and don't find enough shield, or if you aren't contested, you can simply save your shields off spawn and get full shield from the slurp truck instead. Overall, Steamy is one of my personal favorite landing spots and has been for a long time, and if you can learn it and get comfortable fighting there, it can be an amazing landing spot, especially for competitive, so be sure to check it out. Finally, the last spot I like to land at, especially in solos guys, is the Lighthouse on the northwest side of the map. The Lighthouse island area has 9 total chests, and it's actually super easy to land at and loot. What I recommend doing is simply landing at the house, looting all of that up, along with the shed that has another chest, and then rotating up towards the actual lighthouse and breaking the bottom of it to get the 3 potential chests up on top and all the other floor loot, which is basically just going to rain down on you. After that, simply take a bit of time to farm up and then head to the little boat dock in the direction of the shark. This has another 2 chests and a boat if you ever need it for rotation. From here, you have a lot of options. You can either head over to the shark where you can find another 9 chests, or rotate to Coral Castle if you're feeling aggressive. You can also rotate to the small island up north, or you can simply rotate to the zone with your boat depending on where it is. The reason I like the Lighthouse so much as a solo spot is because 1, it's super easy to loot, it has good materials, and the rotations are absolutely amazing. As we just talked about, you have so many options, like going to the shark, the island up north, Coral Castle, which is insanely stacked in case you're feeling aggressive, Homely Hills, which is another solid spot you can rotate into, and if you don't feel like doing any of that, then you can simply use a boat to rotate to the zone. This lighthouse spot has good loot, but isn't the most stacked by any means. However, it makes up for that with the amazing rotation options it offers and the fact that you'll rarely be contested. At most, you might run into 1 or 2 people, and that's if you're unlucky. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to drop a like on it and subscribe if you'd like to see more content just like this in the future. Also, the new season is finally here, so let me know what videos you guys want to see on the channel. I'm trying to get a lot more videos out in the near future. I'm starting to take this whole YouTube thing really seriously, so be sure to let me know. Also, one last thing guys, if you'd like to help support me, then consider using code Teckoh in the item shop. It's completely free and it actually helps me out way more than you think. But with that said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.